What's up, everybody, and welcome to our YouTube page. Listen, we want to intro this video that's about to come up now. Don't fast forward through this. This is going to be very, very impactful. We had these guys who are great friends of ours and co-laborers of ours in ministry come to our church this past Wednesday, and they did a phenomenal job talking about finances. Well, Alaina, you did. Yeah. Tori was supporting you, right? And so, we were talking about financial clarity and how it is that we need to be clear. We need to get a revelation concerning finances and how that can allow you to begin to have victory in that particular area of your life. And we just want to just thank you so much for coming out. This is what she does. What did you think about the whole experience?
I thought it was amazing. I had so much fun teaching this. We are talking about the 5 money personalities. Mm-hmm. So just like you have a spiritual gift, you have a money personality, and you need to know how to operate within it in order to make sure you have financial success.
Yes. Let me tell y'all, it helped marriage problems as well. Because as she was sitting there teaching this, me and my wife was like, this is why we can't get it together on this particular area, because our personalities are different. So the Bible says in Proverbs 29 and verse number 18, in the Message Bible, when people can't see what God is doing, they stumble all over themselves. And so I thank God that he's given us clarity so that we can stop stumbling financially. Let's go into our video. Listen, follow her on her Instagram. Tell her how they can get in contact with
you. So you can find me on Instagram at The Organized Money, and I'm also here on YouTube at The Organized Money, so look for my channel.
All right, let's go into the video. I hope you guys are blessed.
I thank God for the opportunity to speak to you all tonight. Thank Bishop Hebert and Lady Hebert. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Alaina Fingal, and I serve as the pastor of finance at the City of Love under Bishop Lester Love and Pastor Fran Love. And I brought some really great friends with me tonight. Keisha, Lex, thank you so much for coming. And also, my honey is here tonight. He took the night off. So thank you, Pastor Tori Fingal. Thank you for coming with us. I run a company called The Organized Money, and it is a company that creates digital content all around money. My website, organizedmoney.com, I have blogs, I have videos, and products where I show you how to get on track if you get off track with your money. Currently, I have a YouTube channel, which we have about 20,000 in the family over there, so you should come over and join us. And on Instagram, we have about 13,000, so I encourage you to follow me there because I'm always sharing strategies and tips that will help you get better. But tonight I wanted to talk to you about something that will help you with your overall mindset. When we are talking about clarity, we are thinking about our mindset as the first area that we need to touch on. Why? Because 80% of what we do with our money is based on our behavior. 20% is the principles. So the principles, most of us know what we should do when we get money, but we don't all the way do it all the time. So since 80% is behavior, I wanted to focus on our mindset tonight. We all have been given a gift. According to Romans 12, 6 through 8, each one of us have been given a gift from God. There's the prophet, there's the server, the teacher, the exhorter, the giver, the administrator, and the gift of compassion. These gifts come directly from God, and they influence the way that we live our lives. They are a part of our spiritual DNA. Now, these gifts explain our personalities, why we act the way that we act, why we process things the way that we do. Not only that, each one of us have a love language. According to the book, The 5 Love Languages, each one of us have a way that we would prefer to interact with the person that we are in a relationship with. Words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, quality time. So whether we are talking about your God-given gift or your love language, it's good to know who you are. It's good to know your own personality. And most people don't realize this, but money is the same way. There are people who hate to spend money. They feel a real physical pain when it comes to spending more money than they think that they should. And there are other people who love to spend money. They get an adrenaline rush from their next purchase. Then there are people who don't even think about money at all. Now, we all know people who have different spending habits of our own. We all have that cheap friend who never wants to pay for anything, right? And then you have that shopaholic who buys up the mall. And usually when it comes down to our money, we say a couple of things. We make assumptions. We say, you know, I'm just bad at money. I just don't have enough of it. But in reality, just like you have a spiritual gift, just like you have a love language, you have a money personality. So you need to learn what is your money personality. You need to know your own behaviors when it comes down to your money so that you can make better financial decisions. So tell someone sitting next to you, you have a money personality. So tonight we're going to look at the 5 money personalities. They are the prudent, the purchaser, the planner, the player, and the passive. Each one of these 5 money personalities have a strength, and they all have challenges with them. Each one of them can help you make really great financial decisions, but each one of them also can get you in financial trouble. Now, here's the thing. There is no right or wrong money personality. You are who you are. So the goal in discovering your money personality is not to discover your flaws, but to help you understand the way that you think and deal with money. And also, just like with that, you have a primary spiritual gift and a secondary spiritual gift. You also have a primary money personality and a secondary money personality. So I want y'all to think about it, take some notes if you can. We're going to talk about all 5 of these types, and you can see where you fit in with this, so that in this way you can take this information and you can start to apply it to your life. Okay? Y'all with me? So let's look at the first money personality. It is the prudent. The prudent. This is someone who loves to save money. My grandmother, my mom's mom, we called her Mama. She was a very predictable woman. She drove one car her entire life. It was a yellow Buick. She picked me up from elementary school in this Buick, and when I graduated from college, she still had the same Buick. If we went out to eat and she had a little bit of food left over, she would say, oh, I need a to-go box for this food. And me and my brother would be like, why would you're not going to eat that food? But she always did. Always. She always saved everything. And when it came down to money, Mama didn't really trust banks. I don't know if anybody knows of an older person who don't really trust banks. So she would take cash and she would hide it in different places around the house, underneath the mattress, on top of the ceiling fan. It was always all around the house. So much so that she passed away 5 years ago, and we are still finding money in her house. Mama was a classic, prudent person. She is a saver. Now, here's the thing. Not every saver is just hides money in their home or never buys a new car. That's not what I'm saying. Some savers drive really nice cars. They live in great houses. They go on nice vacation. Usually it's all paid for in cash, though. So let's learn about the prudent money personality. Are you a prudent? Number 1, you get a genuine rush from saving money. It is a source of pride to get something and pay less for it. You love to pay less money for something. You love to watch money growing in your bank account. That's something to you. Every time you see that number and it's getting larger, it gives you genuine joy. Now, this is the person that will go shopping on Amazon. they see their cart, and it's $100, they're fine. But if shipping is $20, they discard the whole cart. They don't want it. Shipping, that's too much. I'm not doing it. They will walk away from the purchase, a $100 purchase, because of the $20. This is the prudent. Number 2, you are organized, responsible, and trustworthy when it comes down to your finances. You know where your tax returns are from last year. You got your stuff all ready together for this year. You ready to go because you're organized. You waiting on them. You calling them up. Where my W-2 at? I'm ready. Everyone knows that you are the person to call if they need money. I know I can call you because you definitely have it. The prudent person would never tap out their kids' college fund to buy a new car. They just wouldn't do it. They are prudent. They are a saver. They understand the cost of ownership. What do I mean? Most things that we purchase require ongoing purchases. So if you are a prudent person and you buy a printer, you're already thinking, how much is the ink for this printer? Because I'm going to have to keep buying the ink. If I buy a dog, how much is the food and the pet insurance and the grooming? I want to add all of that up before I purchase this dog. Because the prudent person takes into consideration all of these costs. Now, all of those are great things, and all of those are the pros of being a saver. Now, here are some challenges that come with the saving. Your resistance to spending money can almost make it seem like you're not fun all the time because you aren't spontaneous, right? You have a tendency to be a little bit more anxious and a little bit more worried when it comes down to letting go of money. And sometimes people can feel like it's all about the money to you. And you can also be overly focused on your financial goals. So you're looking at the bottom line, you're looking at that big number, and as long as it's a big number, you're good, right? But sometimes, we want to have experiences and still enjoy life, but you'll hold back because you don't want to spend too much money. How many of you feel like you could be a saver or a prudent person? Okay. If not, it's okay. We still have 4 other money personalities. So let's look at number 2, the second money personality, and that is a purchaser. The purchaser. They don't care how much they're spending or who they're spending on. They love to spend. They live in the moment. They love to go out and buy things for other people. Purchasers get a joy out of giving gifts. They love helping people. They love treating others. They get a thrill from the purchase. Now, it doesn't matter if they're at Saks or the thrift store. It's not about the amount. It's about the thrill of the purchase. It's about the fun of spending. So I know a family where the mom is a purchaser, and they would go on these great vacations. They make amazing memories together. It was wonderful. You see all the pictures on Instagram, Facebook. Everyone looks so happy because the kids had so much fun, and they got memories that they could live on forever. Now, there are some cons with the purchaser, of course. They can be a little impractical because sometimes they're impulse purchasing. Right? They buy things as soon as they want it. They want it, they have to have it. They usually walk into the store without a list or a limit. So as soon as they go in, if I want it, that's it. No list, I don't have a limit, I'm going to get what I want now. And they don't usually research any good deals. They don't wait for a sale. They just get it now. Sometimes they don't communicate well because they won't talk over their purchases with their spouse. They can get a little impulsive and just purchase, and we'll talk about it later, right? Purchases are usually budget breakers, meaning that they can have a great budget, but they have a difficult time sticking to that budget. They usually believe that all of their money issues can be solved by just making more money. They don't think about controlling their spending. They don't usually check their bills or their bank accounts. They are not looking at the transactions. So remember I was talking about the family that had so much fun. They're making these lasting memories, But when they got home, their lights were off because they sacrificed the bill for living in the moment. So this is one thing that you have to work on as a purchaser. The purchaser needs balance, right? So we're just making sure that they aren't sacrificing the things that they need for the things that they want. But the thing about this particular teaching is if you know you are a purchaser, then you have certain triggers that will affect you. You can see when they're coming on. And in the book that I have today, it tells you like a list of all the things that you can do if you do have this personality and how you can kind of operate differently with your budget and make sure you're still satisfying that purchasing need without breaking your budget. The next one, next money personality is a planner. I used to think when I first started doing this teaching and I was doing a lot of research on the money personalities, I used to think that I was a saver. I thought I was prudent because a lot of those qualities of a saver actually do fit my personality. I like to see money in my bank account. I watch over our expenses. But the major difference is between the planner and the prudent personality is that the planner just needs everything to be planned out. They don't mind spending money as long as it's in the plan. So let's look at the planner. Planners are pretty predictable. They usually eat out at the same restaurants. They have their favorite vacation spot. They usually have set money routines. They spend their money usually the exact same way every single time. Now, most planners don't mind spending money as long as they can plan for it. As long as they have a strategy, they're good. They just like to make sure that they're spending their money very wisely, too. So here are the pros. Planners are usually investigators. They love to do research before they make a purchase. So if a planner was about to invest in some property, they want the soil tested. They want to see the zoning restrictions. They want resumes from all the other investors. They want to research every single thing before they put their money into it. That's a planner. They are trustworthy. Planners rarely put their futures on the line, which means that they will definitely do what's best for their families. The bills will be paid. The kids going to definitely have a college fund because they are planners. They're going to make sure everything is good. They're willing to sacrifice. So the planner doesn't mind missing out on today so that they can have enough of what they need tomorrow. They're prepared for anything. Planners never get caught without a strategy. They rarely end up in a real crisis. So this means that their family usually relies on them and they can rest a little bit easier. Here are the challenges for the planner. Planners can sometimes be a little bit negative. So planners are nervous about risk. So sometimes they'll say no to every idea that comes along because they don't want to lose money. They can get stuck in a research rut. We talked about planners being investigators, and sometimes they get stuck in their research and they never make a decision. It's called paralysis by analysis. And they'll miss out on opportunities. So planners need to watch out for falling into the trap of allowing fear to be their reason for inactivity. Because listen, if you have a headache, right, and you probably just need to drink some water, get some rest, you'll probably feel better in the morning. But if you Google it, if you Google headache symptoms, by the time you finish Googling it, you will believe you have a tumor, right? Here's my point. You can always find a reason to not do something if you look hard enough. If you want to find something that matches what you believe, just keep searching. You'll find it. But for most planners, what lies at the heart of their appreciation is like sometimes they will apprehend, they won't do something, and it's all rooted in fear, which is not good. Fear of the unknown, fear of making the wrong move, fear of, oh, what if this is not the best thing for my family? Whatever it may take, they're usually rooted in fear. And that is one of the worst things that happens for a planner. For instance, I am a planner. I know that's my primary money personality. And if something happens in our house, I think one time we had our water heater that broke, and we had to pay an additional $500. It wasn't in the budget, it wasn't in the plan, we just had to do it. I had to write the check, my hand was shaking, like literally shaking, because I was like, oh, what if we really need this for something else? But we're fine, everything was fine. It's just in the mindset of a planner, you're always worried and nervous about something that might happen. So, before we move on to the next money personality, I want to do a game because it relates to the next one. Here's how the game works. If everyone in here gave me $25 and I gave you two options. Option one, you give me $25, I give you back $50. You make an extra $25 guaranteed, right? Option two, I give you $25 and we flip a coin. If it comes up heads, I give you $100, which means you made an extra $75. If it comes up tails, I give you nothing, which means you forfeit the original $25 that you gave me. How many people would take option one? Would anybody do option two? Anyone who said option two, that you would risk the possibility of making the additional $75, even though there's a chance that you could lose it all, this next money personality is possibly you. It is the player personality. The risk taker. You are willing to take the risk to see what's out there. Let me see what else we could do. The possibility of making more money intrigues you. For the player, the thrill of jumping into the financial challenge doesn't come from just the huge payout or the investment. It comes from the game. It comes from the risk in the first place. They like the enjoyment of possibly or maybe this could really come up big. This could be a huge payout in the end. Even if they never hit it big, players never give up on the option. They always get a genuine rush from trying a new idea. They love to try new things, even if it costs them some things. They're fine with that. Here's the characteristics of a player. They are big picture people. They're not worried about the little small minute details, how the idea is going to work out. If they love the idea, they're going to move on it. They want to see how this is going to come out in the end. They love finding their next adventure. No idea is too far-fetched. No risk is too big. If their sense of adventure kicks in, then they want it. They want to try it. These are your friends that can't sit still. They like to try something new all the time. They want to try the new restaurant that just opened down the street. They don't like to try to eat the same dish twice. They want to always have new experiences. They get excited by possibility. They get even more excited about the idea of something than the thing itself. Usually by the time the deal plays out and they've gotten their return, their big investment, they've moved on. They're already on to their next big idea. They're ready for something else. They listen to their gut. More than anything, players listen to their own intuition. If a deal doesn't feel right, they won't do it. But if it does, they're all over it. And they aren't afraid to make decisions. They make decisions really fast. And this could be a good thing when you have some decisions on the line and you might be dealing with someone who's a planner and kind of going back and forth and afraid to make the decision. Being married or having someone else who is a player could actually work out to your advantage. Here's the cons of the player. They can be blinded by possibilities sometimes. When they get a hold of an idea, they want to try it no matter what. They can be impatient sometimes because they can lose patience with people who don't sign off on the idea. Let's make moves. Let's do what we need to do. And you're talking about how and why and what. It's too many questions. It's way too many questions. You got to keep it going. We need to get this thing done, right? So players' biggest risk is falling into the trap of, you know what, I'll just figure it out on my own. I'm going to do it. Y'all taking too long. You're not doing it fast enough. So this is okay usually, right? So if the player is coming up and they're saying, I know what we're eating for dinner, that's fine. But if a player comes up and they say, we just bought a house today, you see how that could be a problem for someone they're married to, right? So if you're married to someone who is the opposite of you, it could be a challenge if they are a player. So the planner, if their spouse is a planner or another, or prudent especially, they could run into the risk of saying, if you bought something without my knowledge and without me, what's the rent? What's this? What's that? And then the player gets annoyed. They get impatient, they get annoyed, and they don't want to be back, and it could cause conflict. So we've talked about the prudent, the purchaser, the planner, and the player. Now we got our last one, last money personality. If anyone have not found theirs yet, you feel like none of these fit you, okay, then this one might be yours. All right, the last personality type is the passive. The passive money personality type is probably one of the most unusual of all the money personalities. Why? Because the passive personality doesn't really think about money at all as a component of making a decision. They aren't worried about money at all. They usually avoid talking about it as much as they possibly can. Now, remember, I told you guys that I was a planner, right? My primary is a planner. My secondary is the prudent personality. I can say with certainty that my husband is a passive money personality. He is. When it comes down to money personality and our money in our homes, he is not concerned at all. This could be a challenge, though, right? Because when we first got married, I was like, babe, let's sit down. Let's talk about the money. We got to have meetings. We got to have plans. We have to build our financial future, right? I'm a planner. And he's like, oh, all right, whatever you say, baby. All right. And I was like, you don't care about us. You don't love us. Well, what is this? You don't care about our financial security, right? I'm getting all worked up because I felt like he just didn't care. But in reality, it's his money personality. He's not as concerned. He felt like as long as you here, we good, right? We're good. You got this. And so we ended up having to talk it out. But that happens a lot with marriages, especially if you're in a relationship with someone else who has an opposite money personality than you do. You have to sit down and figure out what's going on. If you're arguing about money, it's not usually because something's wrong with the money. It's because you have two different personalities. And y'all just need to figure out who each other are. What is your personality versus mine so that we can talk and figure this out together, right? So looking at the characteristics of the passive is basically content with their life. They could be living check to check, eating cereal every night. Not worried about it. Not worried about it at all. As long as they get to make their own choices and the money doesn't affect what they want to do, they're happy. Here are the pros of the passive. They are really big on relationships. Relationships and connection with other people is huge for them. They are happy to let someone else take care of the money. Like I told you, my husband, happy. He's like, oh, whatever you tell me. Okay, I spend this, that's fine. He's not concerned. They're not motivated by money at all. Most passives usually end up living the exact life that they want to live because they're not motivated by money. They get to make choices based on what they want to do and not based on money. The challenges with the passive is usually they're reactionary. In other words, they're not thinking about money until there's a problem with the money. They're usually disorganized when it comes down to money. They could be organized in every other area, but when it comes down to money in a general sense, they have no idea where their tax returns are. They're not worried about, is tax season? Oh, it is? I don't even know, because they're passive. They're not worried about stuff like that. And they are unresponsible. Now, anyone who isn't a passive usually thinks that the passive is irresponsible when it comes down to money. But really, they are unresponsible. Irresponsible suggests that they are reckless with their money. But passives aren't trying to be lazy. They aren't trying to be inattentive. They just genuinely don't care about things that concerns with their money. It's a genuine thing. They're just really mostly relaxed. So, my husband, he is a CrossFit coach. He is a trainer. So why does he do CrossFit coach? It's not to get clients. It's not to get money. Y'all know why he loves coaching? Because he gets access to the gym, and he gets to work out whenever he wants. He loves to work out. So he coaches only because he could get access to the gym whenever he want to go. The main motivation is not because of the money. It's not because of the clients. It's not the success. And you know me, I'm a planner. Oh, you should be a trainer. You could get all these clients. We could do a marketing strategy. And he's like, no, I don't want to do none of that. And I'm like, why? We could make this big, boy. You could be training in New Orleans. And he's like, no, I just want to work out. That's it. That's all he want to do. Because the emotional side of him, he's not moved by money at all. He's doing it just because it gives him an opportunity to do something else that he loves. And that's it. So now we have talked about all five money personalities. So you have to take time to identify which personality is your primary personality and which one is your secondary personality. Now, here's the thing. Most of the personalities, they can be put into two groups. One side of the personalities is the purchaser, the player, and the passive. They have a few things in common. They think of money as a means to an end. They tend to be a little bit more impulsive. They don't experience much fear or anxiety when it comes down to money. And on the other side, the second group, you have the planner and the prudent. And they think of the money as the end itself. They tend to be intentional spenders, and they struggle with a little bit of fear and anxiety when it comes down to your money. If your primary money personality is in one group and your secondary money personality is in another group, you have something called the opposite dynamic, meaning two sides can be fighting against each other in your own mind. So let's say this. Let's say you are primarily a prudent personality, but your secondary money personality is a passive, and you get a new job. This is what happens. Your new job requires you to get more professional clothes, so you have to go shopping. The problem is that you don't like to shop, because most passives don't like the mall. So you put it off until the weekend before you have to start your job. So now you got to go, and now you're forced to go to the mall, and you can't wait for a sale, you can't wait for a good deal, so you got to hurry up and buy all these clothes that you don't really like that much anyway. Now it's your first day of work, and all you're thinking about is how you had to spend money on these clothes that you didn't really want. Your prudent personality feels anxiety about how much money you spent, but your passive personality kept you from going to the mall early and planning everything out and helping you spend less. This is called the opposite dynamic. This is how a person could run up in Best Buy, buy all the tech that they want, and on their way home, they are like dying in the inside and want to turn around and return everything. Because it's one personality that you have while you're in the store, but once you get in the car, another one kicks in. You're out of there. So you're a purchaser in the store, but now you're a saver, you're prudent. Was like, why did I spend all of that money? I need to go back. I need to return everything. It's the opposite dynamic that causes you to do this. And there are certain things that you can do that will help you. You might have to shop online. You might have to, okay, I'm going to have to go in with a list. I'm going to have to do this to manage my money personality now that I know what it is. So the next steps. This teaching should show you yourself. We want to show you the people that you're married to, the people that you are around, people you're in a relationship with. So it should help you when you're trying to talk to them and you're trying to figure out each other so that you can manage these money talks a little bit better. Usually we avoid the topic because we feel like there's nothing that we can do. But knowing your money personality and how you handle money and how the other person handle money should help these talks go a little bit easier. It also should give you a greater understanding of who you are, just like your spiritual gift, just like your love language. The more you research it, the more you look at your money personality, the more you try and figure it out, the better you will be in the long run as managing how you budget, how you save, and how you spend money. The workbook, if I went over all of these and you were still lost, you still don't feel like you know your money personality, I would suggest that you try and get the workbook. The workbook have tests. I have 5 tests in there under each personality, and you can take the test. And you can see which one applies to you. If you the more you answer true or false, they're true and false statements, and the more true you get, the closer you get to your primary and your secondary money personality, and then you can figure out a strategy from there. Okay? How y'all feel? Y'all good? Y'all okay? Okay, so I know, any questions on what I talked about so far before we go into financial questions, or should I go straight from here?
You can take questions. Yes.
Questions? Anyone? Okay.
Your money personality, it can change over time.
It can. So as time goes on and depending on your situation, your money personality can change. When I was younger, I would say I was probably more of a prudent personality. Why? Because I didn't have any expenses. I didn't really have anything much going on. So anytime I would get change, I would save it or stash it under my bedroom, under the mattress and stuff like that. But as I got older, my money personality did change. The way I spent money changed. Even with, my husband, we have learned as we grow in our marriage, as we had kids, things start to change. So you do have to watch out for the signs. That's why it's good to know all of them. And then once you know all of them, you can start to see if your triggers start to change. Any other ones? Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go to the questions. God says in his word, money answers all things. What is he really saying? I can say this. When I started the organized money, a lot of people believe that it's to get wealth, right? Oh, the answer to, you're looking for wealth. You just want to be rich. But really and truly, what I believe that money answers and what it gives you is peace. Peace and opportunity. Not worrying about if a bill collector is going to call me. Not worrying if we get a flat tire on the way home. It's just call the AAA, change it out. Pay it real quick, write a check. It becomes an inconvenience instead of a stressor. And giving opportunities increase. If we had a young lady who came to our church and her house burned down, right? And she was at the altar, she was crying, and we were able to write a check. That is something that you can't just buy in a store, right? The peace and the opportunities that you're able to help and do and move in charities and be able to do for other people is larger than just buying things. And so that's what I believe when it says money answers all things. I believe it gives you peace. I believe it gives you opportunity, which in orders helps you in all other areas of your life. Next question. can you share with us tips on how to save without spending so much? Tips on how to save without spending so much. So I have a book on this actual topic. It's called The 6 Secrets of Money, in which I talk about, in the book, 60 ways to save money, 30 ways to make money, and strategies to get you around the others. Like we talk about how to get organized. I realize that a lot of the times when I'm talking about how I spent money, this was just me personally, my issues around spending was usually because I was unorganized. Like I left the house, I didn't pack my lunch, right? I didn't have that, so now I gotta buy lunch. I left the house, I didn't have an umbrella and it's raining. Now I gotta buy an umbrella, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And it was usually because I didn't plan things out and I didn't have a strategy. So you have to look at what are your triggers around your spending, and then you have to look for, on the opposite side of that, easy ways to save. If you combine the two, usually it's not always about making more. It's just about finding ways to strategize yourself so that you aren't spending a whole bunch. You're getting organized. You have meal plans. Because the number one reason most people spend more money than they should is usually on food. Food is number one. The second one is entertainment. And the third one is shopping. So I found out if you could get those 3 things under control, usually you can find ways to save more money and bring down your spending.
I want to ask you this question. You posted something the other day that I reposted. It says, what does it take to blow $5,000 in a year? And the answer was just $13.70 in miscellaneous spending per day.
Right.
Right. So can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think the last time you were here, you were talking about subscriptions that we forget we have, and it's like, oh, that's just $8 a month, or this just $7 a month, and then before you know it, you've spent a large amount of money on it.
Yeah. So we're talking $10,000 a year is $27.40 a day. It don't seem like much, huh? It went $5,000, $13, like $14 a day, and you've gone $5,000. What is that? That's a coffee in the morning. It's usually getting lunch, takeout, fast food. It's gone. $5,000 that quick. I put up those numbers because most people, when we're talking about savings, they're talking about, oh, I can't save $200. I'm trying to save $300. I'm trying to save this from my check and that from that check. And I'm like, can you save $10? And they're like, oh, $10 ain't nothing, but what that's going to get me? If you do it every single day, it's going to get you a lot. If you can manage because it's your mindset. It's how you're thinking about money. We lose by the penny, not by the dollar. So looking at subscriptions add up. That's why they're so low. That's why they tell you, oh, it's only $8 a month. Hulu, it's nothing. Netflix, that's nothing. But add them all up. Add them all up. Subscriptions is a line item on our budget. And every month I'm looking at them. And if one's off, I'm like, wait, what was that? What's that extra one? Because you lose by the penny, not by the dollar. It feels like, oh, if I had an extra $500, but it usually goes quickly because it's the little expenses, the little foxes.
Right, you lose by the penny, not by the, that's a tweetable, a
T-shirt,
T-shirt, all right?
Not by the dollar.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep. So you have to watch the little expenses. Yes, the big ones matter. Yes, we're looking at the mortgage. We don't want it to be over 30% of what we make. Yes, we're looking at the car note. Of course, we're looking at all of those big expenses. But 9 times out of 10, those small ones will save you. If you could cut back on those small ones and not eat out and not buy little and watch your impulse purchases. I did a whole blog post on how impulse spending can add up throughout the course of the year. The average person spends $450 a month on randomness. Randomness. Buying gum at the cash register, swiping your card. It's just a little, no, it's just that, oh, the kid wanted a little toy. I'm going to just get that. Small things that add up. Everything that we do is within our budget. Everything, even the kids have a line item on the budget. And we teach them about it. Hey, you have $20 this week. What are we going to do with this? Let's talk about it. Money is not infinite, so let's talk about it. And they're learning even as young as they are now. Okay. Which apps or software do you recommend using to help manage money? I have a few. So, one of my favorite apps is an app called Capital. It's Qapital, Capital. This, I believe I mentioned it the last time I was here, but it is an app that saves your change. So just like we was talking about, the $13.40 that adds up to $5,000, it does the same, except it's the opposite. It's saving your change. So if you go to Starbucks and you swipe your card and you spend $4.50, what the app does is it rounds it up to $5, it takes the 50 cents, and it puts it in the app. It saves it. So it's 50 cents here, it's 80 cents there. It just rounds it up to the next dollar in your bank account, and it takes the change. By the end of the year, we usually have $1,200 to $1,500 just in the app. And this is from change. And we usually use it for Christmas. I love to do it for Christmas every year because we always go out of town for Christmas. So we can get flights and everything that we need just from using the change on this app. The other one is called, if you're
Can
looking...
you give that again? Give that. Everybody got that?
Capital, Qapital. It saves your change. And don't worry, if you ever need your money back and something happens, you can easily transfer it back to your bank account. It takes it like 1 day to transfer back. Another one is called You Need a Budget. This is for people who love to budget on an app. I like paper and pen. Paper and pen is my favorite. Give me paper, pen, and a calculator, and I'm good. But I do know that a lot of people like to do apps. And one that I love is You Need a Budget. The other one is called Every Dollar. Both of them are really great apps when it comes down to managing your budget on your phone. Okay? So the next question, what are good stocks to invest in? Okay, I am not, are we streaming? I am not a certified financial. I'm not about to give you stock advice. Not a stockbroker. That's not so. I'm going to give you a roundabout advice that you can think on and decide. You move as you see fit. One thing that we like to do is I have a Roth 401k. Okay, this is for planners, of course, because once again, I am a planner, meaning that I am not a big fan of risk. So a lot of my investments are safe, long-term investments. It's just if it's my money personality type. So we have a Roth 401k that we have with Fidelity. Our children, both of our children have education investment accounts. And then we have a regular mutual fund account. All of them are with Fidelity. And we have a variety. It's a very broad portfolio. But like I said, it's long-term. So as far as individual stocks, we don't really do that. We do mostly index funds, 500 companies within that one fund. They just have to do well across the board. Hope that answers your questions, because individual stocks aren't really my thing as far as, we have a couple, but they're really big companies, that I feel like aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Okay? How long does it take for you to become debt-free? How long did it take for you to become debt-free if you are debt-free? Okay, so I am not completely debt-free yet. We have one credit card before we're credit card debt-free, and then we have one car left. But it has taken us about 2-3 years since we got serious about starting. I can say this. I am not like a big no credit card, don't do this. That's not really my strategy as far as when it comes down to our finances, because I do believe in leveraging credit when you are smart about it. You can do it wisely. If you know that credit is not for you, you know that you're going to get yourself in a whole bunch of trouble, I always say don't do it. But if you feel like you can do it wisely, then I would suggest that you do it. Why? One of the cards that I do have, the only credit card that we have, is a Southwest card. I use this card because I love the points. And every time we fly, we don't pay for any flights. Now, what happens is I usually spend on the card at the end of the month. We pay it off, and and then you get all of the points. So it works for us. I don't always suggest that everybody do this, though, because I don't want you to have $20,000 and say, that girl told me to use this card. Now look at the balance on this card, right? That's not the goal here. So it's up to you, your money personality. You have to know what works best for you and your family. And if you can leverage debt and do it in a smart way that it works for you and you get the best end of the deal, then I would say do it. Okay? Yeah.
Right. Let's clap our hands for her. All right.